Hello, it is December 4th, 2023. It is almost 5 p.m. here in Israel, almost 10 a.m. on the East Coast in the United States. It is day 59 of the war between Israel and Palestinian terrorists in the Gaza Strip. Let's get started with good news right away. So Hamas commander, I'm not even going to try to pronounce his name. He's dead. Doesn't make a difference anymore. He was evil when he lived, and he's evil in his death. And he got trapped in a firefight with Israeli troops and was trapped inside a building. Israel brought the building down. He's dead. There be many more like him as we go on in this war. Tanks have come through the border of Israel and Gaza now as Israel starts operations in almost all sectors of the Gaza Strip. Remember, in the weeks past, Israel was only hitting the north of the Gaza Strip. Now it is hitting the south, especially in places called Far Yunus and Rafah. So tanks are coming through the entire Gaza Strip now. They're setting up checkpoints and different places where they and their troops are operating. The tanks have to make sure that they're not hit by anti-tank weaponry, which means that they can't be in crowded areas. They need to be in open spaces, which is counterintuitive because you'd imagine that you wouldn't want them in open spaces so that they'd have cover. But with the open spaces allows them to see anybody coming near. Anti-tank missiles usually have to be shot from close range. So this way it gives the tanks the ability to see if anybody's coming from a far point away. The tanks are going into the cities, and Israel is now conducting house-to-house raids. They're making sure that nobody is hiding, and they are almost going through all buildings in Gaza to make sure that there's nobody there. Israel is also hitting everywhere by air. Last night, they conducted over 200 airstrikes. Just to give you a sense of what that is, that means that they're like 200 targets. By air, that's helicopters, drones, and airplanes all flying over Gaza, dropping bombs, firing missiles, making sure that places are hit and keeping our soldiers safe. There are let's see what okay. Yeah, moving into Lebanon. Actually, let's just do one thing on hostages. The Red Cross has demanded, it's only been 7 weeks, so this is pretty quick for them. They demanded from Hamas to be able to see the hostages that are still being held by Hamas. They have not received any response from Hamas yet. I don't imagine that Hamas will allow them to see the hostages. Number one, because Hamas doesn't care, and number two, because the Red Cross being able to see the hostages would tip off Israel as to where the hostages' locations are. They would just have to follow the Red Cross volunteers. Okay, moving up to Lebanon. The IDF flew over Lebanon yesterday. This is a big deal because Hezbollah moved a lot of its weapons away from the border under the thought that Israel would never be able to fly directly over Lebanon. There would be too much political considerations that Israel would have to take into account, flying not over Hezbollah territory, but over the regular Lebanese government territory, and at the same time, then making it easy for Lebanon to spot the jets and be able to knock them out of the sky. Israel showed that they could fly right over Lebanon without being knocked out of the sky and be able to hit any spot that it needs to. This sends the message to Hezbollah that they're not going to be able to use Lebanon as a safe grounds, meaning the rest of Lebanon, besides the part that they control, as a safe grounds to operate from. The IDF can hit them anywhere in Lebanon. Okay. The IDF is not, the heads of the IDF said that they are not going to weaken their approach. They're going to fight just as they have the last couple of weeks, even if other countries are telling them that they have to lighten up and take a weaker approach to fighting. They say they are not. They're going to keep up their actions as they are now. The IDF is trying to track down Yahya Sinwar and Muhammad Daif. And they should be wiped out. We are trying to find them and kill them. They are the leaders of Hamas in the Gaza Strip. The Mossad has announced that they will kill the leaders of Hamas that are outside the Gaza Strip. The war will not end until these people are dead. That's the end of hostilities in the war. Two other more domestic pieces of news. there have been over 260,000 Israelis that have applied for gun licenses since October 7th. Keep in mind, many Israelis already have gun licenses. So you talk about in the space of 6 weeks, 260,000 Israelis are trying to buy guns. Israelis are allowed to own one pistol. They're not allowed to own a rifle. Only one pistol and only 100 bullets. So having a gun, what people realize down south, a lot of the people down south, all the victims, they didn't have guns. They did not own guns. They felt that they didn't need guns. And when Hamas members came into their homes, or Palestinian terrorists came into their homes, they had no way of defending themselves. Israelis do not want to be led to slaughter that way. We realize that it makes sense for all of them to have guns in their homes. Palestinian unemployment in Gaza it's zero, and because they're being bombed, but there were workers that were staying in the Israeli part of like the Israel side of the Gaza border. There were Palestinians staying there because they had jobs, and they've been returned to Gaza. It's somewhere around 18,000 people. Palestinians that live in Gaza have been returned to Gaza, even though it's a war zone. Israel's not providing them shelter, and Palestinians in Judea and Samaria, what the world calls the West Bank, who normally work either in Jewish towns in their area, or they work in Jerusalem or over what's called the Green Line into mainland Israel, and have not had the ability to go back to work since these attacks. Their employment rates are skyrocketing, and they are running out of money. So consequences of conducting mass terror attacks across the country is that you lose out on things. Hamas, unfortunately, and going into bad news, was able to resupply through the Egyptian border, through tunnels built in the Egyptian border during the ceasefire, and they are using those weapons down south. More bad news: 3 more IDF soldiers were killed over the last 2 days. That raises the amount of soldiers killed in this war since the start of ground operations to 75. It is most probably at this point over 400 if you count the attacks on Sipostoro. Houthis no one understands what they're doing. They fired at 6 different ships yesterday, and they're getting demolished. No one's really sure what they're doing. Okay, that's the end of the update. Let's get to some of your questions. How did Hamas overthrow the government of Palestine? Hamas overthrew the Palestinian Authority in 2007 by killing all members of the Palestinian Authority in the Gaza Strip. How would you respond to Israel told Gazans to go south to be away from the fight, but now they are bombing the south? How would I respond to that? I would respond 2 ways. Number one, yeah, it's a war, and you celebrated the death of Israelis, and don't play that you're in this game of there are Hamas and then there are innocent Palestinians, and the innocent Palestinians are now getting caught up. Those innocent Palestinians support the death of Israel, so hard to come up with mercy for them. That's number one. Number two, Israel produced maps yesterday showing exactly when and where they will be attacking in the south. So yes, there will eventually be no place that Israel will not be attacking down south. Very simple solution to this problem. Hamas members stop hiding among the population. If the world turns to us and says, well, the only way of hitting Hamas people is by killing innocent people, you have to not kill the Hamas guy. What the world is actually saying is, if keeping your people safe is going to require you to make Gaza people unsafe, you should continue being unsafe so that the people in Gaza are safe. Why is it that it's okay for our civilians to be put at risk, well, so that the Gazans won't be put at risk? It's an absurd double standard that the world holds us to, and completely unrealistic. So, yeah, that's what I say. Don't start wars that you're going to lose. That's what I'd say. And yeah, and if you're a Gazan there, don't celebrate when Israelis are beheaded. Don't celebrate when Israelis are tortured, kidnapped, murdered, raped. Don't celebrate those points. Okay. Israel is never alone. It has the support of millions of people the world over. Corporate propaganda, media reports are not credible. Your briefings help us understand what's really happening with the war. I thought this was going to be a question. Okay, thank you for your nice comment. Okay, what is the purpose of having a buffer zone? How would that be a solution? What a buffer zone does is it creates a space on the Gaza border, let's say a kilometer, 2 kilometers. That would be about a mile, a little less than a mile. And then anybody that comes into that buffer zone dies. Israel kills them. Okay, so that way Israel now knows nobody can come up to its border. The minute somebody comes into that buffer zone, say sorry, you're not allowed to be there, and you are killed. So that's and it's assumed that if you come in there, you're coming in there for a to have a war. Usually in a buffer zone, what Israel will do is it'll set up two fences, one on its own border and one at the beginning of the buffer zone. And on this fence will be signs posted in Arabic that say, if you cross this fence, you will die. And there might even be mines put in here so that if you step on it, you will be blown up. In light of the recent breakdown of the ceasefire by Hamas, what strategies can be implemented to encourage a lasting peace and prevent further escalations in the Israel conflict? No, we're escalating the Israel-Gaza conflict. We don't want to not have further escalations. We want further escalations. We're going to escalate this until they're all dead. So we do want escalations. We're trying to escalate the problem. Escalating the problem creates a solution. That's the idea. What are your thoughts on America jumping back and forth with Israel and denying Israelis access to the United States? So it's not that America's jumping back and forth. I think that the Biden administration is has different voices within the administration, pushing the president in different directions, and the president is trying to balance it out, his natural inclination to help Israel, while at the same time trying to make sure that the voices that are trying to make sure that not so many Gazans die are paid attention to. So it's not that America is jumping back and forth. It's America is trying to find this balance between them. And I hope that President Biden makes the right decisions and supports Israel fully without any conditions at all. Do you think there's going to be another ceasefire, or Israel's going to send troops in to find the hostages? I don't think we're looking at another ceasefire. I'd be shocked. It could happen, but I'd be shocked. I think we're going to be seeing a couple of weeks worth of war before that's even an idea. For how long has Hamas been funded by Qatar and Iran? I think probably since their founding in 1987. I could be wrong, but I assume it goes all the way back then. When Israel raids Palestinian cities like Judea and Samaria, how can they be sure who's associated with Hamas, who isn't? Wouldn't Hamas members hide and pretend they are innocent civilians? So interesting, you would think so. So first of all, Israel has a wide intelligence net that can figure out where things are and who's who. So a lot of my Palestinian friends always tell me that one of the things that plagues their communities is people ratting on each other. People love going to the Mossad and telling them information about their neighbors. They usually get things for it, whether it's extra permits for their families or they get money. So they love ratting out on their neighbors, and it's also used as a weapon. So if you get in a dispute with your neighbor and you're a member of Hamas, you can be sure your neighbor's about to go tell on you. So that's one way that Israel knows. Another way is that a lot of times the Hamas members will shoot back. But usually Israel goes on a raid in an area because they've gotten intelligence that there's somebody living in that house that's from Hamas. Do you think we'll find out exactly how Hamas was able to plan it? Yes, we're going to know exactly when the investigations begin after the war is over. We're going to know exactly how Hamas carried out this attack. 100%. Were there any American or Israeli casualties from the attack directed by the Houthis? I guess that's Iranian terrorists. Was Israel able to take down the 2 bombs directed towards the American ship without letting any Americans die? Yeah, no Americans died, and there were no casualties. So Israel and America are fighting the Houthis together, and they are killing them. How can the ultra-Orthodox Jews fight the IDF? Are there accommodations to them since they are really religious? So there are special accommodations for ultra-Orthodox. Truth be told, like the regular army accommodations should be fine, but there are certain things like the ultra-Orthodox don't like serving with the men and women serving together. They don't like that. There's a special level, I shouldn't call it special, let's call it different, a different level of kashrut that a lot of the ultra-Orthodox hold that the regular people that keep regular kosher don't hold. In Israel, there's different standards of kosher. You don't have that in America, really. But yes, Israel makes accommodations for that. What circumstances led to Israel initially pulling out of Gaza in 2005? It's a great question. Israel pulled out of Gaza in 2005 because Ariel Sharon, who was then the prime minister of Israel, felt that Israel would be safer not having to protect the people, the Jews that lived in Gaza, because they were constantly being attacked, and this way Israeli soldiers their lives wouldn't be put at risk to protect these people, so he pulled them out. How do other countries like Qatar and Iran affect the problems between Israel and Gaza? Well, they supply money into the terrorists, so that's the main reason. That's how they do it. If the IDF has found over 800 tunnels but only destroyed about 500, why didn't or can't they destroy the other 300? It's a good question. Not sure. I thought about that. I'm not sure why. It could be they're waiting to destroy them. I don't know. Will the news that Israel knew of a possible major attack that Hamas could pull off over a year ago, is there something that can be done to ensure that there was no tampering with or anything to put Israel at greater risk to an attack? Yeah, Israel is going to be taking a tremendous accounting of what happened and what led to that attack, and they will figure out what happened and how it happened, and ensuring that it doesn't happen again, and taking those necessary steps for sure. Why did Israel leave Gaza in 2005? Okay, so we discussed that. What happened afterwards that led to the current conflict with Hamas? Well, what led to it was Hamas firing rockets at us and attacking us. Can you explain the key events and challenges faced by both sides in a way that's easier to understand? Well, the key challenges and events are, here's the key challenge. Hamas wants Israel, the country, gone, and the Jews that live in it dead. And the Jews don't want to be dead, and Israel wants to remain a country. That's the dispute. I know it sounds like I'm mocking, but that's really what it comes down to. And the key events have been throughout Hamas's rise to power in Gaza in 2007. Since that point, they've continuously attacked Israel, and then at various points in 2009 and in 2014 and 2021, Israel has hit back hard. And that's weakened Hamas. And then Hamas gets stronger, and they then again fire rockets at Israel, and then Israel hits them back, and it's been a cycle. This kind of broke the cycle. Okay, with the ceasefire ending, is there a strategy to attack with more force now, knowing that Hamas is not giving back more hostages since they are men? Well, there are still women. There's still about 18 women being held hostage, and Israel is hitting as hard as they can now. I mean, I don't know if it's hard. They're hitting hard. They're hitting as hard as they have. Let's put it that way. As hard as they have. They haven't lessened the hit. Okay, that is the end of our video for today. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave them below. We'll hopefully see you tomorrow. Let's hope for victory. Let's hope for safety and security for the Jewish people. Let's hope that our soldiers come home to their families and the hostages are safe and secure and are brought back immediately. So.